Hello. Hello. How are you? That sounds good to me. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing okay? Hope everyone's doing okay. It's been a while since I've done PowerWash. Got stuff to keep me busy, that's good. Well, I hope you had a nice time with Delta. Good. I still get that chuckle anytime I see that drawing. Automod truly is a formidable opponent. Hey Luca, hey Ranta. I'm still scouring for mods for a new RimWorld run, because I still haven't quite fallen off it yet. Thinking about the PM campaign and got gacha anxiety. What's gacha anxiety? Like concern you're not going to get the ones you're after? I'm looking forward to. I think it's tomorrow that Muesli releases on Arknights. Looking forward to that. Might do a video on it. Not sure yet. It's going to be me with Argenti in Star Rail over in December. Would you recommend Star Rail? I've not really looked at it at all. Like, I've seen some ads and that's about it. Right, I should probably launch the game now and bring up Mini-Me. Oh yeah, sorry, never mind. I was about to say, so it's about to continue a conversation from the Discord, but best to reply in text form rather than in voice. Right. PowerWash. The one roommate that had never played games in general enjoys it in Genshin, and if that tells you anything, pretty much. And the Moo banner is what I got the anxiety for. I'm sorry to hear that, Luca. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, the only things that you need to get now are the ones that are limited, but even the limited ones do come around again. So try not to worry about it too much. Right. Over we go. Hello. Is there any sound? I can't remember. Yes, there is. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Gary and Weaver vs. Live PowerWash Simulator. It has been a little while since I last played this. I wasn't interested in the SpongeBob expansion, but we are getting a Back to the Future one in about a week, just over almost 2 weeks. And I will hopefully be streaming this on Mondays, and then that comes out on, I believe, the 16th, which is, funnily enough, my birthday. So I'll be streaming it on the 17th, because I have plans on my birthday, obviously. So I thought, in the meantime, there are bonus jobs they've added. Like, they've added these free jobs. Or rather, they've added these bonus jobs as free updates. So I thought, you know what? I haven't played them. They are technically canonical and part of the story, even though they're not part of the story. So I've done that one, apparently. But yes, I thought, play some of this. I don't have anything else planned for Mondays, so this could be fun. Dirt Finder, did you know we're going up in the world? The mayor recently said to me, Warden, we're going up in the world. I'm not currently at liberty to say why or how, but Muckingham needs every potential tourist attraction that it can lay its hands on. Leave no stone unturned lest it be a jewel, or something to that effect. So I said to my deputy, Earl, out and about to see what he can find, and in less than 3 weeks we found a sorry-looking fountain near the edge of the middle of the recreational grounds. It urgently needs to splash your expertise. Do what you can, Dirt Finder. So I don't know if I get my equipment. I might need to use the ones it gives me. O2 levels depleted. Alright, I have also completely... Yeah, I am stuck with the one it gives me. I've completely forgotten the controls. Get out of this. You may have noticed footprints leading away from the rover that may or may not be human. Sorry, do you think I'm on the Mars rover? This isn't the Mars rover level game. Good job. Yeah, this is the park fountain. No? Yeah, I think it's confused. My guess is that these weren't in it. I don't recognize them. Oh, that's how you change. These weren't in it last time I played, and now it's desperately trying to keep up. Yeah, okay. Oh, I meant to turn that off. I'm sorry. Hang on a sec. I meant to turn off the no spoilers thing. There it is. Sorry, one moment, guys. And nope, not that one. Sorry, I did mean to do this earlier and I just completely forgot. Commands. Quotes. No. Q. Quotes. Timers. Timers, here we are. Alright, turn that off. Okay. Don't forget there is a quote thing, and what was the other thing I was going to do? Yes, sorry, I did mean to do this and I got distracted. I need to turn on the change clothes. A reward as a thing that can be bought. View rewards, channel points, manage things, and change clothes activated. Okay, so on Twitch you can once again purchase a change clothes. You may need to refresh your stream. I'm not 100% sure. And now we shouldn't get the pop-up anymore. Right, what are the commands? Because I have forgotten the controls entirely. Right mouse. 2, 1, 3. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember now. And then that's the... Excuse me, random person, can you stop spamming my texts with things about Mars? I'm not on Mars anymore. It's going through all of them because presumably they weren't in it last time I did this. I don't remember them. So it's bugged out because it's like I'm playing a bonus level and it thinks, oh, I better send him all of the things he didn't get last time. Oh yeah, now I'm getting the... This is just completely bugged out. Because that's like the first one. It's gone in reverse order, hasn't it? Because it started off as 80% depleted, 60% depleted, 40% depleted, and now 20% depleted. Welcome to Mars. Thanks. Thanks, game. Really high quality free bonus levels you've provided us here. Liquid oxygen reserves. Mars has now been colonized. Good news, guys. It's a gnome fountain. Oh, the park wardens finally got through. What do you think it's made out of? Gnome bone. Looks like gnome bone to me. Hello, Anonymous. Welcome. Am I doing this the right way? Yeah, I think I am working outwards in. Is there going to be a gnome watching me from somewhere while I'm cleaning the gnome thing? Or is one of these going to be the gnome? Is it him? Could be. Could be him. Lost Cat Ulysses. Very fluffy. Call him. There he is. I see him. Anyway, where was I? Oh, each of these dings? I remember working on stuff while you were playing PowerWash last time, and now it's happening again. PowerWash is the game to follow in the background. Yes. Feel free to do whatever D&D or homework or schoolwork or work that is required while I am streaming this. I do not mind at all. I'm just glad you're here listening to me. Spray water and stuff. And spray water at stuff. Oh, yes. Can't forget, can I? Where should I put this? Here? Keep it clean, guys. I may end up getting pulled away sometime in the next hour or so. The one other roommate and I intended to head over to the next town to pick stuff up. I don't think we decided on an exact time. Well, hopefully you don't get pulled away, but if you do, that's okay. The VOD's always there. What is this, anyway? Grime. Dirt streaks. I'm sure there was something else I saw. Very possible. It'll be soon as he gets home from his own job. It's my day off. Oh, good. Hope you've had a nice day off. You know what I've been watching lately? Over the last couple of days, I have binged the 4 movies in the Monsterverse, which is the Godzilla and Kong shared universe. And they are really, really good. Like, I loved the 2014 Godzilla when that came out. But this is my first time watching Kong at all. And it was really good. I highly recommend it. The attention to detail, the characterization of the monsters is all really good. Verdigris. What is verdigris? You know, there was something weird I was seeing in there. Heard the mention of kaiju? Yes. The Godzilla movies. The Monsterverse. Very well done. And I think... Actually, I was thinking about this last night. I think the reason... Because they're very similar to, like, the Transformers stuff in a way. And yet, it bizarrely sort of inverted. So, in the Transformers movies, the Michael Bay Transformers movies, which I don't think are very good, part of what makes them not very good is that the Transformers are just sort of there. You know, the humans do all the important things, and then the Transformers are just sort of there to talk to them and encourage them and fight in the background, you know? Whereas in the Monsterverse stuff, the monsters do the important thing. You know, it's not someone launching a missile that takes down, you know, like, completely avoiding spoilers, because this isn't what happens, but it's not like a missile that goes in to take down Godzilla. You know, it's all the monsters. The humans barely have an impact, but they have enough of an impact that they're not pointless. But the human characters are just sort of supplementary to give, like, stakes and context to what's going on, rather than they're the real point. You know, they're not pulling a bloody, oh yes, Transformers, we really care about this bloody weird awkward teenager with the cringiest parents in the world. He's what you're really here to see. No, I'm here to see the Transformers, you knob. So, Godzilla doesn't do that. I mean, the first one, the 2014 one, has a bit of an issue of cutting away from Godzilla the moment he starts to do anything interesting. But that is a habit that they have completely broken for the subsequent movies. The subsequent ones, I don't know whether they thought, oh, people don't want to see like monsters all the time, do they? They want to see they want to, we want to cut away from it. Or maybe they thought, oh yeah, we want to save it for the big final fight. But yeah, the first Godzilla movie, the 2014 one, had a horrendous issue of cutting away from fights to just stuff we don't want to see as much. But that is a habit that they have broken entirely. and the other ones revel in it in a brilliant way. So I highly recommend the Monsterverse movies. Most of them are on Netflix. I have a couple of them on DVD as well, or Blu-ray, one or the other. Because, yeah, they're just really good. Verdigris is a kind of copper oxidization. Sorry, I thought you were talking about kaiju. It's like, did someone mention kaiju? Yes, it's a form of copper oxidization. So that doesn't sound quite right. But, yeah, Google said it, so it must be true. Don't you love chat delays? Quite. YouTube in particular. I love YouTube's chat delays. Makes it really easy to carry conversations. Why are these guys carrying barrels? Oh, they're not. They're like vases. Or what's the term? There's a term for it, isn't it? Oh, it's like a fancy fun term. I can't remember what it is. For like that kind of... something? Amphitheater? Isn't an amphitheater? Like the antique sort of liquid vase, that kind of thing. I think it's an amphitheater or something. Isn't there a button to highlight stuff? Amphora, thank you, Kronos. Yes, Amphora, that's the one I'm thinking of. Show dirt tab. My mouse keeps getting stuck. I've got this keyboard, not keyboard, the other thing, mouse mat. I've got this mouse mat, and it's like one of these ones with like a wrist rest. It's like a padded thing where you can rest your wrist so that your hand isn't like hovering, and it's more comfortable for like long-term computer use. Really good, by the way. I'd highly recommend it. Anyway, the issue is, because I use my computer so much and I use my mouse so much, I tend to wear through them. So, like, this is the third or fourth one I've had to get. I think this is the third one. Because I tend to wear through the mouse mat a bit. Like, I rough up the surface, like in the middle, where obviously the mouse moves a lot. And the problem is then it causes, like, the center of the mouse mat to, like, raise up. Like, watch this. Alright, I'm going to take my hand off the keyboard entirely, okay? So I'm not touching the mouse at all. Is it going to do it? Yeah, see, look, it's moving slightly. Alright, it's more obvious when the whole screen moves. There, see, it's just like slight twitches. And what that is, because I'm still not touching it at all. And what that is it's the center of my mouse mat, like, lifting up. Because it's like bubbles slightly in the middle. And did I finish the other outer pillars? I didn't finish this one. It, like, bubbles up a bit in the middle. And then it just sort of stays bubbled. And I have to just push it down every so often. And it's not great. When that becomes like a constant issue, then that's when I have to replace it. Because it throws off precision stuff, because it starts bubbling up so often, so sort of quickly, that I can't do precise mouse movements because it's too busy trying to push me out the way. If you want some good kaiju content on Netflix, there's the fantastic Gamera Rebirth series, animated, but considering the big turtle has been on the shelf for close to 19 years. Okay. I'm not actually that into kaiju as a thing. It's specifically Godzilla that I like, because back in me olden days, back when I was in primary school, my best friend was really, really into Godzilla. Like, he had all of, like, the 1960s through to 90s films on VHS. And whenever I'd go round, we'd watch one or two of them. So I've seen most of the old Godzilla movies. And I have some, like, fond memories. Like, I remember, or at least I think I remember them. You know, it was, like, literally 20 years ago now. So it's, my recollection isn't perfect to these things. But, like, I'm fairly sure I remember certain things. Like the original, or not the original, but there's one of the origins of King Ghidorah, and I remember Destroyer and stuff like that. So that's why, like, Godzilla has a very special place in my heart. It's one of the first sort of monster things that I was shown, that I saw, that I liked. So it's very fond to me, Godzilla. And that's probably how I can recognize stuff. Like, in one of the PokéSins episodes, I think it was... Oh, it was one of the ones at the Pokemon League, I think. The one with Moltres in and the flame. But, like, the Moltres sound, the Moltres cry sound, is very, very similar to that of Mothra from the old Godzilla stuff. And I have no idea how I knew that, except as some sort of latent memory. Because they say, like, sound and smell, are they the two things that, like, we associate most with memory? So, I mean, that's not entirely the case for me because I'm really bad with voices, but I swear that I hadn't heard Mothra in years. Like, about over a decade between last seeing Mothra in a movie and hearing Moltres' cry and recognizing it as basically Mothra's cry, which I then looked up and found to be correct. Well, at least they're very, very similar sounding. And it's one of those things, it's like, I don't know how I knew that, but I was right. I hate doing the bloody insides of these things. 1 sec. Yep. %12 clean already, guys. Only been at it half an hour. Admittedly, I spent a lot of that talking, but talking and not cleaning and sorting out controls and stream stuff. So yeah, it's fine. I suppose only 20 minutes because, you know, 10 minutes of pre-stream. So yeah, there's no problem. No problem at all, guys. I'm a very efficient cleaner. most of the way around this thing now. Oops. There. Alright, last little section of the outside. Oh, Teddy, hello. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that was you talking about acoustic memory. Hello. Been a while since I was able to catch catch a stream. How are things going? They're not too bad, thanks. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Lobco streams. Still doing that twice a week, except next week there won't be any Lobco streams. I'm just going to very quickly go around and do like the underside of these, I think. I've been going to archery. I've got a bow now. Still only shooting at 30 yards, but I've been changing my equipment a lot, so I'm trying to get used to it. Hopefully I'll be a better archer for it. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks. Or is it a week? Sorry, it's the 6th in a week. On a week on Thursday. So I'm going to be doing a special stream for that, longer than usual, starting earlier, going later. Or I'll play whatever I feel like. Basically whatever I've been playing for fun at the time, which at the moment is RimWorld. But there's every chance that I'll sort of fall off RimWorld before then. Yeah, that's about it, really. How are things with you guys? Lower pool floor is all one thing, it looks like. Oh no, it's not. They're in sections. Algae. Not coming off easily. Oh, that's another thing for Halloween. My archery club did like a Halloween shoot, where everyone dressed up, and I went as my Infinite Dead character. Like, basically me with green skin. Oh, sorry, I'm just stretching. Oh. So yeah, that was really fun. Got to be green for a day. And I might share some pictures from that day to prove that I do actually shoot. You know, just because I haven't shared much in the way of that. What am I missing? Oh. Nice. Zed Garen with a bow. What was that about primitive technology? Well, you don't know. I might shoot a compound. I don't, but I might. Compounds are definitely not primitive. They're bloody complex. As it is, I actually shoot a recurve, and my recurve is like a quick, I can't remember the term, quick slot or something. So the thing about it is, normally when you're assembling, some recurve, the basic ones, when you assemble them, you have to like tie it together. Not tie it, sorry, screw it in together. So you have what's called the riser. There's the central bit, the bit you hold, and the bit you rest your arrow on is called the riser. And you attach you attach the limbs to it with big screws. But the one I've got is a quick slot or something like that. I don't know what the correct term is. I've forgotten off the top of my head. Oh, you see, the virtues of marble are that it doesn't readily absorb heat or moisture. Yes. Like most stone, frankly. Currently, Earl and I are holed up in a creosote shack, and boy, does it get hot in the summer months, cold in the winter. Sure. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it's like a quick slot thing, so you just sort of place them in, and then it uses the tension of the string to keep the limbs in place. It's quite clever. Much easier to disassemble. Blood is known to get stuck inside stones. It is very difficult to get blood from a stone once it's in there, you know? In my experience, when there's blood in a stone, it's because the blood wants to be in there and you should just respect its wishes. Thank you very much. Things have been good with me. I joined a new tabletop group a while back. We've been in a Star Wars RPG recently, which has been fun. I'm also beginning to put together a campaign I'd like to run using the upcoming Batman RPG. Oh, very nice. I hope you enjoy that. In RPG news, I've been I played in an Arknights one run by Skier, who is also in the chat. And they'll also be running a Project Moon one, which is Lobco and Library of Ruiner, with people from the Garen River Discord, which would be really fun. But that's at the moment. That will be the only one I'm in. I'm not in any others at the moment. So I'm looking forward to that. Because I miss it, you know? I really enjoy it, and I ain't been able to play it recently. Oh, I mean, of course, I have also been developing my own with Eli and with the help of the people over on the Garen River Discord. We've been doing the Far Waste. Oh, it was a fascinating story, Luca. Like a lot of the people playing it were like much more experienced with TTRPGs than I am, frankly. Like Noily, who seems to be in like 7 at once at all times. But Skier really like pulled the wool over our eyes. Sounds worse than I intended. You know, they really surprised a lot of us with the twists and with the plot and with the cameos. There was a mayor cameo, which was fun. Skier's personal doctor showed up as well. Which is great. Carrion. Yeah, it was really good. The GM for my current group is like that. She is a game almost every day. I totally respect that kind of thing. You know, if that's what you're into, by all means do it. Like, yeah. I've known people who are playing in 3 or 4. Noily is probably the most into it of anyone I've ever met. And prides herself on coming up with tragic backstories. And like before we started playing, she was like, "Oh, you guys, my backstory is going to be the most tragic." And it's like, is that important? Yes, Garen, yes it is. Yeah, it was really fun. Playing with some really nice people. Who I hope I get to play with again. I'd like to say the campaign couldn't have been as interesting as it was without the help of Link and Stell. But yeah, very happy with the main twist of it. I don't really know Stell. I don't think I've ever actually spoken to Stell at all, but Link, I've spoken to a few times. He's been very helpful with anything I've gone to him with. I'm looking for a second group to join, but I think I'll stop at 2. I think that's probably a good bet for most people. Like I think I was in 3 at once, and that took up like all of my free time that I was willing to devote to it, you know? And I think the only reason that worked was because one of them was meeting at like my 2 a.m. bloody 2 a.m. start, because it was an American group I joined. I didn't expect it to be quite that late when I joined it. I thought it was like midnight to 2 rather than 2 to 5, you know. Yeah, that was a bit rough, but I am mostly nocturnal, so I made it work. Am I on the right? I am on the stubby. Stubby gun. Stubby gun. I want to say it'd be from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. depending on where in the States they were. I think they were Central Time. I think Central or Eastern. It was one of those two. But I'm really terrible with time zones. I can never bloody remember what time zone and the difference is to virtually anybody I know. But in that Arknights campaign, I played an assassin, essentially, called Dust. And his thing was that he used to be... he essentially wandered out into the wasteland from a civil war-torn country, and then lived in the wasteland, killing anybody for anything he needed. Until one day he attacked the wrong people, got beaten, and they said, hey, look, we'll make you a deal. We won't kill you if you kill the people on the caravan behind us. So he did, and that was his first contract, and he became a hitman who would kill literally anything or anyone who wandered into the wasteland. Until eventually he was contracted to kill a child, decided, nope, that's my line, and gave up that life entirely. And this was a bit of an issue because he was a lot more willing to kill than literally anybody else in the party. To be honest, it is rare that I encounter a party in a TTRPG who are adverse to killing. But I did. And it just so happened that the time I did, I was playing a... not kill crazy, he definitely wasn't a murder hobo, but he had the attitude of... if it is more convenient, just kill him. So I maintain I don't think he was a murder hobo. But, he didn't respect life apart from children. And he did everything he could to protect children. So he was... like, in the session 0 or session 1 or something, where we were like, it was just to set it up for the proper first session. We were like infiltrating a fighting ring, which had children as fighters. And, I was working with Noiley's character, who was an operator for Rhodes Island. And he's like, well, there's a guy, he's got a ticket to the fighting ring, let's get it off him. So I shot him. And Ski was like, okay. Didn't expect anyone to die in the first session. Yeah, and I just murdered some random civilian. My justification being he was going to a fighting ring that's known to have children fighters. You know, he's got this fucking coming to him. So that was the thing. What am I missing here? I don't see it. It's very hard to see it against this colour. Got it. So I'm just taking a quick break from the spraying to read the chat. I've got to say, I'm definitely glad I got co-DMs and helpers for the story both times. It's way more fun to bounce ideas back and forth with someone compared to trying to scramble a story with no real feedback, especially for someone with anxiety who's still a relative beginner DM like me. I can understand that. When I did my one, I was mostly doing it on my own, and I screwed up a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have screwed up if I'd had someone to bounce stuff off. So when I DM'd, I focused it as telling a very large story, but with less of a focus on the moment to moment, and I think that was a mistake on my part. So, and partially because the people I was DMing for had virtually no patience for it. So they were an instant gratification lot for the most part. So it didn't mesh. I had these visions of telling this big grand story over weeks and weeks of sort of in-game time, and they sort of eked every single second out of every day, so it made the grand story take a year and a half to do. I mean, that's not exactly hyperbole. We played for about a year and a half before the campaign ended. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about that. I don't often make super tragic backstories. I had one character who was a relatively well-adjusted bookstore owner until he was possessed by a demon. But the game was literally about playing as demons, so that was out of my control. Yeah, that makes sense. The funniest part about that is that I actually planned for you guys to find some sort of ticket around, but no one looked around. That was when I realised what being a DM was really like. Yeah, it's very, very hard to predict behaviour. Particularly in the early sessions, particularly when you're new to it, yes. That's something I also found. Like in... sorry, I'm talking about my campaign again. Like the inciting incident for my campaign was like a massive explosion. Because the antagonist group essentially made a bomb with the intention of like luring out somebody. And the group got sent in to like identify the person in charge. So they got to the room where the guy in charge was, and he was holding a torch over a cauldron. So they charged him. It just immediately. No, it didn't say a word to him, they just charged him. So he dropped the torch and blew up the building. And and that was the end of it. The end of the sort of the beginning bit, really. And it's like, I did not once anticipate that when they're sent there specifically to talk to and identify someone, they would just go for the kill instantly. I didn't see it coming. And I mean, ultimately, it didn't have that big an impact. It made their lives harder. Their players, that is, but because they failed in their mission to identify the guy. But apart from that, nothing really. I'm really waiting on seeing what everyone else is playing in the PM campaign to see what gaps I can fill. If not, then I'll probably be a character who's kind of like an evasion tank. I still have no idea what I'm doing with that. Like, Skira and I were talking about it right before the stream, and I have no idea. No idea, really. But I feel like I don't know much about the actual setting, because I've gone into Lobco so blind, and essentially experience like 3 hours at a time twice a week. I don't feel I have that big a grasp on the actual world, because I'm generally too busy focused on surviving the gameplay. So I might need to do a little bit of reading. It's a nice fountain. I like these bits. Really pretty. See, one of my roommates wants to put a campaign together for the house, and cool as it sounds, I don't have the heart to tell him I don't think I'd fit into it. It can be difficult. Like, I've been on both sides of it. So it is very difficult, yeah. I guess what I've learned is if someone seems to be pushing back, don't push too hard because they might have reasons they don't want to share. And, you know, it's like, it's not on you to draw it out of them if they'd rather not share it. So, yeah, it's better to back off if you suggest something and they seem not that into it. Like, it's hard to gauge if they're not that into it because they don't know enough about it, or they're not that into it because they actually know more about it than they want to let on, type thing. And neither. Like, one requires you to tell more, and one requires you to back off, and it's very hard to gauge. Oh, sorry. Stretching. Oh, hey Nathan. I've only ever played with my dad as the DM. He really likes the stats and strategy aspects, and most of the stuff we did was very dungeon heavy with relatively little story. That seems to be quite common. Like, some people I played with have said that they basically never played in a story-based one or a roleplay-focused one before the one where I played with them in. So it does seem to be relatively common that a lot of people don't bother with the story. And I've heard of ones where essentially every character was a murder hobo, and they're expected to go around murder hoboing, and that just doesn't appeal to me at all. Like, if I want to play a game where I just go around killing people, I can do that. That's what most games are like. The thing I like about D&D is the things that you do the stuff you can't do in a computer game. Come up with ideas and stuff that is beyond the scope of even the most adventurous game. And have the personal interaction. Like, Skyrim is amazing as an adventure game, but there is virtually no personality to the interactions. Whereas something like D&D, you can have that personality, and I really like that. And that's my favourite part. That's why I really, really like player conflict. Because that's, again, something you can't get in most games. Sorry, the back and forth is like straining my wrist. So I keep stopping. Oh. So hard to see the bits on this one. There. Ooh. Wow, a lot of text in the chat. Sorry, just going to have a quick read. You'll understand a lot more when you start playing Ruiner, true. I'd say it's probably better for you, Garen, to come up with the general ideas of the backstory, then decide what your character will do based on that. I can help with the lore stuff, ask all the questions you want, if needed, or if I'm not around, ask Tetra. Okay. Yeah, that works. Man, I love focusing on roleplay. Me too. Because, like, knowing how they like to write stories, so to speak, it doesn't mesh well with my character creation focus. Oh, this is Rand, sorry. And while I have some ideas that could fit in, they're not as developed as the ones like Becca and Ryan, if that makes sense. I mean, you can always, like, for want of a better term, nick ideas from elsewhere if you're having difficulty. Like, I wanted a really light-hearted character to play, so I played basically Exusier from Arknights. Or at least used her as inspiration, mostly design-based inspiration, to come up with something I liked. We had some conflict in the Arknights campaign thanks to Dust. That was very fun to see happening. Yeah, to tell that story, we were freeing. If it's the one that Skier means, we were freeing some children from the gladiator camp, and like we worked out a plan, and it's like, okay, so Dust will lead them off in one direction while everybody else sneaks off towards the exit with the children, and like the fourth person in our group. I say the fourth person, that makes them sound like a spare wheel. That's not intended. Like the person. There was someone in our group playing, like they were playing an idiot. They weren't an idiot. They were playing an idiot. And they also got very unlucky with some rolls. But I think he may also have misunderstood the plan. I don't know. I didn't want to like go into it too much to find out sort of how everything went wrong, because I didn't want him to feel like, you know, I thought things went wrong. I thought it was hilarious what happened. But I don't really know. But what happened was he went charging off. So instead of Dust like luring the enemies off sneakily, he went charging off towards the gate. And then I think he may have brought them back. I don't really recall. But the idea was he was luring these guards around directly towards where we needed to go and where we were. And like we did manage to get all the children out. And after, when we sort of got back to the safe house, which was an orphanage where the children were going to be staying until we could get them out of the city, Dust slammed his character, Molly, against a wall, held a knife to her throat, and said, "Are you an idiot or are you fucking with us?" Basically. And it's like, look, you used to work with these people, and then you just led them directly towards us. And when it was sort of ascertained that, no, she wasn't working against us, she just messed up, it's like, oh, okay, then immediately sort of took the knife back and was like, all right, no, I understand, that's fine. But it permanently soured their relationship, obviously, as it would. But Dust was like quite emotionally stunted. He was, I described him as like emotionally dead. Because he's sort of done all these horrible things. He's aware he's done all these horrible things. And he's sort of beyond the event horizon. You know, there's no coming back. He just wants to do what he can before he dies. That was his motivation. Oh, I missed this, apparently. So to him, it was perfectly justified to hold a knife to somebody's throat when you think they've betrayed you, but then when you find out they didn't, no hard feelings. And clearly that's not how most people work, and it's not how Molly worked, and they never reconciled. Despite Dust sort of trying to, frankly, but I completely understand why they didn't. But it was, yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing that happened. And I always say this about player conflict. Whenever there is player conflict, what you should always do is, unless you're 100% certain that everyone's okay, is you should stop at the height of it and check if everybody's okay. Because I've been in player conflict where one or both parties were getting very upset and very angry, and nobody stopped it. And it just creates bad will that lingers. So what I always do is, whenever there is one of these high octane situations, and as long as I'm not getting, like, the part of the reason I didn't stop it when I was involved with it and I was getting upset was because I was getting upset. I didn't want to stop it. because I was, you know, as I saw, I was the victim, etc. Blah blah blah. I don't want to go into it. Not the point. Anyway, so it's always good whether you're DMing or whether you're playing. Is if there is a high octane situation between players, it's always a good idea to just pause things a sec. Is everyone okay? Do we need to take 5? Is this all still in character? And that's always a good thing to do. Sorry, that got a bit intense for me. I get very, very invested in this stuff, you see, so it's very easy for me to take these things, well, not too seriously, but seriously. I've never been one for thinking somebody's taking something too seriously. You know, if somebody thinks something is important, then they can take it seriously. You know, it's not my place to judge that, as I see it. Hey, Czech bro. Sorry, we're having a very intense discussion about player conflict in TTRPGs. Don't know how fitting that is to this game. I may also have gone into it too much. Personally, I'm very happy that it turned out the way it was. As weird as it sounds, I don't like when a group of characters are all just happy and friends for no reason. Sometimes people don't get along, and that's okay. As long as it's in character, not out of character, of course. Indeed. Yeah, I've also had situations where characters who really shouldn't get along do because they're players. And that takes me out of the story. And, like, if you're not doing it for the story, why are you doing it? As I said, there are thousands of games you can play where you get the murder hobo aspect. To be honest, the early Baldur's Gate games are... well, they're not murder hobo, but they're pretty damn close. Where there is no way to talk your way out of situations. Baldur's Gate 1, at least. I don't know about 2. So, in that game, that's D&D where you can only fight. And it's a good game in that I love it, but it's not a good game as a D&D representation, you know? Ooh. Alright, perfect timing to finish that first ring. 45% complete. I'm just going to have a quick drink. Oh, I have a posture check 7 minutes ago. Thank you. Oh. Oh, right. Posture check. To be honest, I'm a bit hunched over. Mostly, not so much because of the game, but because of what we're talking about. Is again something I feel quite strongly about, so I got a bit too invested in that. Sorry, do you mind if we do change the subject? Because, yeah, I'm getting a bit too... like, yeah. It's a topic that I feel very strongly about. Like I said, I've been on both sides of it going wrong. So I just want to chill out a bit, change the subject. Maybe we can discuss it again on the Discord or something sometime. Because it is something that I genuinely have a lot of thoughts on and want to share them. But it's just a bit intense for me right now. How was your day? My day was brief. I'm very nocturnal at the moment. So I went to bed at like 8 AM, got up at like 3:30, almost 4 PM. I almost had it bloody fixed, my sleep schedule. But then the other day, like I was tired at about 2 AM, and it's like, good, I can go to bed early because I've got archery tomorrow. So I go to bed at like 2 AM, 2:30, and then lie awake for 5 hours. 5 hours lying in bed. And like, I read my book. I've been reading the Lovecraft stories. They're really fun. Well, they're not fun. You know, they're good. So I've been reading Lovecraft. I listened to music. I watched videos on my phone. I listened to videos with my eyes closed, lying down all comfy and cozy and warm, and I could not sleep at all. And normally when I can't sleep, it's either a I'm clearly wide awake thing, or I can sleep if I just stay here long enough. And this one wasn't either. It was just I'm tired. I don't want to go anywhere or do anything, but I can't sleep. So I ended up lying in bed awake for 5 hours. That was not fun. I mean, it wasn't unfun because, you know, I read my book and I watched videos, but it wasn't what I intended. So I ended up having to miss archery just because by the time I finally got to sleep, it was like 9 AM and I had to get up 3 hours later to get ready for archery. Sorry, 7 AM. 7 AM because of 5 hours, yeah. And by then, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm too tired for this. I used to pull all nights in the past. Nowadays it's a miracle if I can stay up past midnight. I tend to stay up quite late. Yeah, it was the same when I lived on my own, and it's the same now. Although now it's because it's too noisy here during the day, whereas when I was living on my own, it's just because that's just how I gravitated. And it's not ideal. It makes it hard to do normal things that normal people do. But if it works for me, if I'm comfortable and happy, then that's fine, I guess. How's Durandal doing? Durandal, if anyone's unfamiliar, is Skier's new leopard gecko pet that they got, what, a week ago now? 27th, wasn't it? So a week and a half? Sorry, Skier's son. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, I've never been a fan of the whole, like, pet is a child thing. It's just not a thing that I've personally ever understood calling it. Each to their own, of course. You know, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't call him that if that's what you want to call him. But it's something that I've never been on board with personally. But as I said, each to their own. Let me go check if he's at 27th. Yeah, I thought it was. I've been reading a lot of Neil Gaiman, and I'm halfway through Anansi Boys and the Sandman comic series, if I'm only reading one thing at a time. Oh, sorry, God, bloody hell. That gnome gave me a heart attack. I thought it was a person. He's out and about near the warming lamp. Oh, that's good. Sure, that's nice for him. Alright, so this is the wall and this is the floor, so they are separate things. Anansi. Oh yes, of course. Anansi's the spider god. Am I African spider god? That's probably a massive generalization. I don't know. Spider god. Okay, I was right. I'll be honest. I know very, very little about culture in African countries. Has anyone here seen Good Omens Season 2? Is it all out, or is it like being released weekly? Is it any good? I've heard good things, but... A friend of mine is obsessed with it. Yeah, I know someone who's obsessed with it as well. But I haven't asked them about it yet. Oh, that's probably something I can do. It was shorter than Season 1. Well, Season 1 was adapting a whole book and had, like, 2 unnecessary subplot stories in it. One of which was the main plot. It was just very uninteresting to me. From what I understand, the difference between Season 1 and Season 2 of Good Omens is Season 1 adapted the book Good Omens, which was written by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. And doesn't adapt well. As I've talked about before, virtually none of Terry Pratchett's stuff does. Because it's the genius is in the writing and not in the reading, if that makes sense. Whereas Season 2, they took the thing that really worked from Season 1, the relationship between Crowley and... Crowley and Aziraphale, and that was the focus, is what I understand. I could be wrong, but that's how I interpreted it. Which is the right way to do a sequel like this, or a second season or whatever. Because, yeah, I didn't care at all about the main plot of Good Omens. I cared entirely about Crowley and Aziraphale. They were amazing. But the actual plot of the book, completely uninteresting to me. So that sounds like a good way of doing a sequel series like this, or a second season, whatever. I really, really want a pet. My current living situation doesn't work for it. A friend and I are planning to move in together. That'll change things. I really want to watch Good Omens 2, but I'm not getting Amazon Prime for a single show. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I've been meaning to read Terry Pratchett. I think with most of his books in the house somewhere, it's one of the things on my ever-growing list of things I will do eventually, I swear. I genuinely think Terry Pratchett is one of the best writers ever. Sadly, his stuff has never been adapted well. Like I said, it doesn't adapt well. It's sort of too clever to adapt in a lot of ways. The genius of it isn't... It's not even in what the characters say, it's in how they say it. And it's just never translated well. Also, it's always been the BBC, and the BBC is a bit shit like that. But there are loads of amazing Terry Pratchett books, and I recently read a couple. I read some of the less amazing ones, but there are some amazing ones that I've read several times. Like, my two favourite ones are Thief of Time and Pyramids. I consider the peak of the summit. The greatest of all time, if you'll excuse all the puns, of Terry Pratchett's work. Yay. Ooh. So that's everything out of here. Pool light. 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why I'm checking them. I can just bloody look up the thing. Going back to the can't sleep because it's too noisy, I'm surprised how fast I got used to the crickets singing in my room all night. I was very afraid of not being able to sleep anymore. Oh, I can't even imagine. I mean, I suppose, yeah, it becomes a white noise if it's, like, constant. But, like, I have a bit of an issue with noises. I'm fairly sure I've mentioned before that I'm like quite certain, not 100% certain, I've never had it officially diagnosed despite my bloody attempts to, that I have misophonia, which is like an irrational reaction to noise triggers. So snoring, it's just makes me like irrationally angry when I hear snoring, that kind of thing. And to be honest, my number of triggers is bloody going up by the year. But what's that? Where are their boot prints? Was that me? No, why are there boot prints? Oh, because somebody came up here to spray? Maybe? No. Oh, I can't quite... What's with these boot prints? Or did they? Did they come up to spray and then jump off? Ah, fuck me. Sorry, someone pledged. Thank you. Give me a freaking heart attack. Yeah, it looks like they were just up here to spray. Okay, as I was. What was I saying? Misophonia, yeah. So, like, I have an issue where sounds I can barely hear can keep me awake. Because, like, I sort of strain to hear the noises that I don't want to hear. So I sleep with earplugs most nights. Sorry, Warden, could you mind not bugging me? I'm trying to talk about hearing issues. One of my favourite authors is the late Robert Jordan. His prose was especially good. His books had some pacing issues, but I don't think that's down. But I think that's down to him rushing to get it finished after his cancer diagnosis. Damn. Well, there was someone. Who was it? I can't remember who the author was. The Wheel of Time. And in that series, the author actually, I believe, died before the series was finished and passed it on to his son. Who released, like, I think they co-wrote... Oh, that was Robert Jordan. Okay, yeah. They, like, co-wrote the penultimate one, and then his son wrote the last one, or something like that. I've not read The Wheel of Time, but my dad's a big fan. Nice. It wasn't his son. Oh, right, it was his wife. Oh, okay. I knew he got someone to co-write and finish. I thought it was his son. Oh, I do actually have a little bit of sort of sweet trivia about Good Omens. The original book was co-written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, as we were talking about earlier. And they did try to get it adapted for ages, and they didn't manage to... I can't remember why, but there was some reason they failed to to sort of get it adapted. Maybe they weren't happy with it. Maybe they didn't think anyone was sort of able to do it at the time. But it was something that they always wanted to do. And when Terry Pratchett died, Neil Gaiman said something like, it wouldn't feel right to do it without him. After which he was delivered a letter which Terry Pratchett wrote before he died, saying, please finish what we started. Please adapt this thing and finish our work. And that's just got to be really, really nice. Because I met Terry Pratchett once. He was doing a book signing, and I met him, got his autograph, and he was really friendly. He was such a nice guy. And I think his daughter has done well to sort of preserve his legacy and his values and stuff. Speaking of Good Omens, a friend of mine who really likes it was that one big con with us, and they got a pendant with a snake and angel wings that was themed after that. That's cool. Oh, almost 2/3. Two-thirds exactly. Bloody hell. This is taking longer than I expected. Maybe I'm out of practice. Could not imagine trying to speedrun this. Yeah. I don't know what the thingy would be for this one. I don't actually know if the bonus levels have speedrun options. Because I know there are like challenge modes for the main ones, and it's like water use, time taken, and maybe steps taken, although that could be Portal I'm thinking of. Can't wait for you to reach 99.9 and not know which crack of the statue the last bit's in. Oh, yeah, that's going to be horrible. Oh, good times ahead. One of my favourite types of magic in fiction is magic powered by belief and collective consciousness. Neil Gaiman does that kind of magic very well, and I've heard Terry Pratchett does as well. Yes, Terry Pratchett, like in the Discworld novels, the way the gods work is they are powered by belief. So there's like small gods, I think, is one. All about that. The Hogfather is about that. Pyramids to a degree, although lesser. But that is a sort of consistent thing in the Discworld novels. Stretch. Oh. What exactly does the change clothes reward do? I change my clothes. Here. So I'm currently wearing White and Dirt Hunter. So when that is redeemed, what I do is I pick a new outfit and put that on instead. I couldn't find the rascal. Turns out he's hiding behind the cactus and will most likely knock it down soon. I loved that post you did about Durandal knocking it down while you're away. Something about it tickled me so much. Alright, so now I just need to go around and get the bits on the plinth. Still so much more of this to do. And some asshole has been spraying it. Alright. What soap do I have? Do I have any soap? Stone cleaner. then up to the next level. Whoop. Yeah, it's better used on this level. He's staring at me from the other side of his terrarium. Cactus in his reach. Brilliant. Oh. Oh, right. This is where it's going to get tricky because it's more vertical. I think I should focus on one thing at a time. The base. So each base piece has its own segment. What do you think about RPGs like the ones I mentioned earlier based on existing IPs? I've known some people say they don't like them because they feel too restrictive. I can definitely understand that. I was talking earlier about Arknights and now Project Moon one. And the Arknights one didn't feel restrictive. I mean, it was restrictive in a way in like conforming to the setting. Like there are certain types of thing that didn't work and certain types that worked better. But that's not restricted, that's just sort of thematic. But I know what you mean. Like there is a Dishonored TTRPG, and I love Dishonored. One of my favourite games, one of my favourite worlds. I would not want to play in a TTRPG, because the interesting part of Dishonored is having the outsider's powers. You know, the outsider and his powers are the interesting part of that world. And unless you have everyone with the powers, in which case they're no longer special, or you have one person with the powers, in which case they're the only special one. But the point of it is that the outsider chooses very, very few people who are not necessarily themselves special, but will do special things with it. That's the way the outsider decides who gets his powers. So surely a thing set in that universe won't be interesting, because either everybody's special or nobody's special. So that, to me, defeats the point of setting a game in that world if you're not going to have the outsider's power involved. And it's sort of the same with Fallout. Like, you're quoting The Incredibles, aren't you? With Fallout, it does have certain, like, people like to be things they've seen. And, like, I'm no different. Like I said, I played essentially as Exusier. But, like, I didn't play as Exusier in an Arknights-based thing. I played as Exusier in a horror campaign. Based on, like, Strahd or whatever it's called. Curse of Strahd. So, it wasn't, like, too ripping it off. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I can understand why people think it's restrictive. I guess people feel the need to play these things they've seen because they know that works in that world. It's for the same reason you always get, like, the really angry, doesn't think anything through barbarian, because, hey, that's what it's like, right? And people are like that with IPs and stuff as well. So they'll go, well, I'm playing a ghoul, obviously I have to be sort of distant and uncaring because that's what ghouls are like in Fallout, right? And it's like, well, no, that's just the ones we've seen. You can be whatever you want, but most people sort of don't think of that, essentially. If that makes any sense. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing. If you think I am, feel free to let me know. If you disagree, I'm just giving my personal perspective. Would you say the same about Star Wars and the massive focus most Star Wars media puts on the Force? Yeah, I sort of would. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't like Star Wars. I think it is massively overhyped. But I do know that it is something that people really enjoy. And yeah, I sort of, because like I've watched I started watching a Star Wars TTRPG people were playing before realizing I don't care. But like in that, I don't think they had anyone with the Force, and it was like they had a Wookiee, they had like a smuggler type, they had I think they had a Jawa character, and it's like, I mean, it's a world and it's a universe. I personally don't like it as a universe or a world, but to those that do, maybe they don't need that special thing. I don't know, but like, going back to the Dishonored thing, I don't see the point of existing in what is otherwise a largely generic sci-fi world without having the Force. And it's why I sort of didn't understand the appeal of Rogue One as a film, when it's like, oh yes, it's a film about those background characters, none of whom have the Force, and they they got like the Death Star plans. Okay, good for them. Doesn't sound particularly interesting. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. There are loads of Star Wars TV shows and stuff like The Mandalorian did well. That's not about the Force at face value. So, yeah, maybe people disagree. Yeah, okay, so I'm going around this one at a time. I chose to play as a clone trooper because I think it's interesting to explore how really fucked up the concept of creating millions of people just to be soldiers is. I suppose if you're doing it with a purpose of... well, right, people play TTRPGs for a variety of different reasons, and like I might be just going into this again a bit too much, but like I've known people who play them because they want to explore a particular aspect of themselves or explore a particular concept. That's how I play it. Like my first character was a guilt-ridden female tiefling. So I was exploring concepts of characters and roleplay with that. And like the second one I played was a fire elemental who was magically enslaved by Herona, and again, a female fire elemental. And it's these elements of roleplay that it's exploring how these characters operate and how they interact and how the world interacts with them. That's what I find interesting. Some people play it as a pure power fantasy, where unless they can kill everybody they meet, they don't feel that they're actually getting anything out of it. But they're also the kind of people, and this is a true story, who play with like all the cheats on when they play games. And like I can understand the appeal of that sometimes, but not all the time, to me, personally. So yeah, people... Oh, I'm going to get some sleep now. Thanks for watching, Skier. Hope you sleep well. That's a lot of what I like. Exploring a character is very fun to me. Same for me. I enjoy creating these characters, and then I say to the DM, I don't have any plans for where I want this character to go. So like with Ayla, she was tormented. She had this pull of is she good or is she evil? I mean, objectively, she was probably good, but she could have been swayed evil. I didn't go in with the intention of she will be good. She will come out of this a hero. It was up to the DM and the story to decide where she went, and I'd just react in the moment to what happened. And that's how I like to play it. I don't want a pre-decided outcome for my character, because then what's the point of playing it? You know, I'm a writer. I've written stories, and if I know how the story ends, the story becomes a lot less interesting for me personally to then sort of experience. I don't watch my own videos for entertainment. I don't read my own stories for entertainment often. Only if it's been years and I've sort of forgotten what I did with it. So I don't want to know how what's going to happen to my character. I want to be surprised. I don't know how I got onto this. I guess the point is that underneath it all, it's the... No, sorry, I've completely got distracted. I've read The Wandering Combine a little. It seemed like fun. Yeah, it was alright. It's a lot of... yeah, I've read that one already, yeah. So I really liked Ayla as a character. She had a very bad time of it. for reasons I don't really want to go into. But I still look back fondly on Ayla as a character. And I enjoyed the way I played with her. I have a character concept of a reincarnated folk hero dealing with themes of legacy and identity, and it's the first character I've really had where I sort of know how his story might end, at least what the best case scenario would be, and it's just a question of how we'll get there. Yeah, that makes sense. And when I was running my campaign, one of my players said, look, you can do literally whatever you want. I don't mind if you want to like put my character through absolute hell. I'm just along for the story, and whatever the story is will probably be good. And that was quite liberating to hear as a DM, because then I could, and in fact did, put his character through hell. I killed off everyone his character had known, basically, apart from his parents and his best friend, who turned out to be a traitor. So, yeah, I put him through hell. And he enjoyed it for the fact that it was something going on. I tend to get quite invested in my characters. We're back on this topic again. What do you mean, Jesus, Garen? He said it was fine. Alright, what I did was, before I did that twist, I said to him, is there anything that's off limits? Because one of my a different player character was a parent, and they said, look, whatever happens, nothing can happen to the children. And it's like, okay then, understood. There is the line. So with this character, it's like, okay, do you have anything that's off limits? And, you know, I'll respect whatever limits you set. And he said, nope, nothing at all. It's like, nothing at all? Nope. Okay, then. I know what I'm doing, then. And I didn't do it that way because he said nothing was off limits. Like, I had that planned, and I was hoping he'd say... Like, I was hoping his anything off limits didn't preclude what I had planned. But it was part of this, like, overarching story. Because I have the mentality that the player characters should not be the destined heroes to save the land. In a way, they should be the ones who just happen to save the land. But to be honest, that's my favourite version of fate in stories. Fate and prophecy in stories is something you've got to handle very, very carefully, because otherwise it becomes stateless, you know? Oh, this bit's going to be a massive ball ache to clean. So my favourite version of fate and prophecy in stories is essentially what I had planned in my one, which was something needs to happen, or rather, you are the people who will do the thing that does need to happen, but you do it of your own free will. Like, the God of Time essentially knew what would happen and realized that, yeah, choosing, like, getting these particular people into that situation would result in the outcome he needed. So he did. He made sure they got there. And it wasn't fate or destiny, it was that if these people are there, they will choose to do the thing that he wanted them to do. So it's like destiny from the other side, if that makes any sense. Almost like chaos theory. In the whole, you know, you can predict the future by analysing the past type of thing. But, like, you can determine the future by affecting the past, kind of. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. Let's change the subject again. Oh, I hate this. I hate this fountain. Right. Can I get the ladder? Can the ladder help? Look at it spin. It's a nice effect. Oh, this bloody fountain is killing me. Those things ding individually? Oh, hell. Get off. Now I'm just sat here trying to think of something to change the subject to. I'm not great at conversation. Yeah, sorry. Stretch. Stretch. Oh, bloody hell. Oh. Here's something I brought back: quotes. If you type in on Twitch !quote, and it might work if you post it on YouTube, because it'll get like reposted. I don't know if it will. It will put in a random quote. Like, have you ever heard the phrase the ignorant get quite pissy if you point out how ignorant they are? From Age of Encryption, episode 2.5. So that's back after being absent for like over a year. That used to be a big thing that people really liked. I'm in a musical mood. Do you have any favourite bands, Garen? I have. I've actually been listening to Attack on Titan OST lately. Oh, wrong nozzle. Been listening to that for the last few days. A few songs from that are just spectacular. But as for actual bands, Aviators is amazing. Who does original music based on games and TV and stuff like that. Miracle of Sound is always good. But I would say my favourite band is something called Digital Daggers. Which does... I think it's like 2 or 3 people. And they do like... I don't know how to describe it, but hauntingly beautiful singing. And I found them several years ago. When I was... God, it must have been like 8 years ago now, something like that. It was just before just before Subnautica released sort of fully. Like the original Subnautica. And I know that because at the time I was into them, I was playing Subnautica and I played a flaming ton of Subnautica. And now I associate Subnautica with Digital Daggers because I listened to them so much while I was exploring in Subnautica. Do you ever get that? Where like a certain song or something you associate with a certain thing because of whatever reason, really. And Digital Daggers is one of those bands that I will still sort of sing to myself just idly, no matter what I'm doing, basically. So I highly recommend them. They're like they're not an upbeat, happy sort of band. I don't know how to describe the music at all. I'm really bad with music descriptions and stuff. But my favourite is... I think my favourite song of theirs is I'm Still Here. I'm going to have to quickly look this up. I actually have iTunes open so I can have a quick look. Digital Daggers. The Devil Within, that's a really good one. Still Here. Where the Lonely Ones Roam, State of Seduction, and No Easy Way. Out of the Fire, In Flames, Heaven or Hell. All of these are spectacular songs. And State of Seduction I actually associate with Bloody Plants vs. Zombies, because that's what I was playing when I found that song, and because I found that one later, and listened to that one on repeat for bloody a week straight. Because that's what I do. When I find a song I really like, I will just listen to it on repeat. Over and over again for a week. Until more or less I know the lyrics by heart. And then I'll sort of eventually fall off listening to it constantly. My musical tastes are all over the place at the moment. I'm listening to The Struts a lot, another favourite band of mine. AJR is releasing a new album on the 10th, so I feel like that'll be my next hyperfixation. I'm glad other people do that too. Glad it's not just me who hyperfixates on music. I hate this fountain. I know I've said that a couple of times, but I freaking hate this fountain. Oh, God, it's got so many little bloody corners, and the grime is so hard to get off. And I hate when there's these little shells and stuff. How much do you want me to frickin' spray this? Just come off, please. Oh, God, and I still need to do the higher areas. Oh, my God. Ah! No proper frickin' vantage points, so you just gotta do it from weird angles and hope you get it all. Get off. Go. I haven't found a favourite band myself. I think it's more apt to say there's a specific feel to a song that I like. Yeah, I can understand that. I like J-pop. I won't talk more about that because I doubt anyone else here does. That's okay, you can still talk about it. I doubt anyone here has even heard of Digital Daggers. But that doesn't mean I can't be proud and gushy about how much I love it. I really like songs with the guitars and drums. While high energy seems too active of a term, it's the closest thing that comes to mind. That's fair enough. Maybe it's why I like a lot of combat soundtracks from RPGs. Can we burn down this fountain, please? I want it not to exist anymore. No, fuck's sake. These fucking gnomes. I'm getting slowly more hostile towards this fountain the longer I'm here. No! So, no, it's not that bloody... Oh, this is the lower basin. Obviously, that's the higher basin. There, fuck my gnome. Don't do that. Anyway. I find it humorous when you finish cleaning something in the background while struggling with an object. Oh, I found that was the more efficient way to do it. Focus on doing the fiddly things and then you do the other things accidentally. Doesn't help that my fucking mouse pad is throwing me off. Oh, that one's already dinged. These people could really stand to wash their gnomes a little more frequently. Yes, and they need to find somebody else to bloody do it. I'm not doing it. I am not a gnome washing service, sir. They don't call me the gnome washer. Whenever I get a phone call from some strange man saying, "Hello, can you come over and wash my gnome for me?" I call the police like a reasonable person. Fuck my gnome. Stop it. Alright, I need that bloody thing. Come here. Here it is. Come here. There. Fucking dinged the gnome. One of my roommates just broke a plate or something downstairs. Why? What were they doing with it? Climb the ladder. Do you watch Eurovision? I tend to find most of it my kind of music. It isn't my kind of music, but there are 1 or 2 good pieces each year. I'm a big fan of Skin, the Italian one from 2001. I've watched a couple. It's not really something that interests me. But I also have found, each time I have watched it, there have been a couple I've liked. Like, is it called Blind Channel? Was like the Norwegian one year. And there have been a couple of others. But Blind Channel is probably the only one I've sort of repeatedly gone back to. And Kino? I think they're called Kino from a few years ago. But no, I don't watch much. Just curious, I got here late. Is this the only thing you've done this stream, or did you finish a different power wash? No, this is the only one. I've been doing this bloody fountain for 2.5 hours. That's why my will has been slowly sapping as I've continued. Alright, up to the next layer. Oh no, apparently I haven't done this bit over here. Oh, bloody hell. Oop, cool. Didn't mean to jump then. I think I jumped on this or something, or landed on this. Well, we've talked about a lot of intense things today. Or at least they're intense to me. I do feel very strongly about some of the stuff we talked about today. So that's probably why I'm feeling quite as sapped as I am. Yay. Right, let's go up to the next level. Again. Jump, you knob. Ugh. %95 complete, guys. Let's try and get this enthusiasm back up. Mostly talking about myself there. Yes. Gonna finish this fountain by the end of the stream. As in, I'm gonna finish this fountain and then the stream will end. And then I'm going to take a break, have something nice to eat. Got a slice of custard cake, not custard cake, custard pie waiting in the freezer that I've been meaning to have for weeks. Might have that. And then I'm going to continue modding RimWorld, because I just bought the Biotech DLC after umming and ahhing about it for like 2 weeks. And then I'm going to play RimWorld. for a bit before doing some work, you know. This must be what it's like for the cleaners in LobCorp. Have you ever heard of Viscera Cleanup Detail, Ranta? Because that is what cleaning up Lobco is like. What have I missed on this bloody outer edge? Modded RimWorld is fun, yes. And if I'm still playing it in a week and a half, which I probably will be if I can get into a new run, then I'll probably stream it. On the birthday stream. What am I bloody missing here? Got ya. God, these do look like blood-covered rocks, don't they? The gnomes want blood sacrifice. If you do not give them to the king of the gnomes, then the gnome king will take them by force. Down in Muckingham, any who do not pay tribute to the gnome king find their back door rattling in the middle of the night. But when they look, they see only the garden gnomes, stood like statues. The key word being like statues. Have I mentioned I'm writing a Lovecraftian style horror story? That sounds like a joke, but it isn't. I mean, I've already written one. I wrote the Miskatonic fanfic, which is available on my website, The New Professor. Go check that out. But I'm writing a more serious one as well. You made my Google Home thing start searching something. Hey Google, gnome clowns. And so nobody else is left out. Hey Siri, gnome clowns, please. Too late, I already turned on the mic. Damn! I don't trust anything that's always listening. I know what sort of crap I say to myself. I don't want anyone hearing that. Don't Google knowing that I sing digital daggers to myself when no one else is around. That's private and secret, and nobody in the world knows that. How is this gnome not fucking clean yet? Bit of advice, don't look up gnome clowns. Really creepy. Oh my god. Which of course is why you're talking about it to the people in Europe. Is this clean yet? No. I don't have a frickin' angle on this bloody clown. Gnome. Gnome king. Gnome clown? Gnome clown king. King of the clown gnomes. Yes. Now I just need to clean this bloody pile of rocks and we're done. And the cleanup, because there are definitely some bits I've missed. So I'm now that you've got me thinking about digital daggers, I'm actively having to resist the urge to sing it. Specifically Still Here. Because it's like, it's in my head now, and it wants to be sung. I'm singing The Devil Within, not Still Here. Because the next line in my humming is The Devil Within. Do you ever get that? Do you ever think, like, what song is that? And then you sort of sing it or hum it to yourself until you get to the chorus, and it's like, oh yeah. Ugh. I asked my Alexa about gnome clowns, and it started describing clown-like creatures, and it might be one of the creepiest phrases I've ever heard. Gnome-like creatures. This is distantly related to the clown. Sorry, clown-like creatures. This is distantly related to the clown. They separated off in the Cretaceous era. All right, I'm gonna get my bloody. Do I have an all-purpose? I don't. I literally just have this. Fun fact: the clown is actually more closely related to the common weasel than it is to humanity. Fun that. It's a fun fact. It's all about how classifications are done, though. You know, you knows how accurate any of that stuff is. Like, they're both carnivores, so technically it's more closely related. And it's just because, you know, it has to get lumped in with carnivora, which means it's technically a dog, a canid, rather than an ape. Do you guys have some kind of OSHA equivalent in the UK? Yes, it's colloquially called Bob's Law, after Bob the Builder. And I think this is because, like, they did a special about Bob the Builder. And in the special, it was about, like, safety, and there was a massive uproar in the UK about it because we don't otherwise have laws like that. And wait, have I not done the bowl yet? We don't have laws like that, so the law was, there were like massive strikes. This is back in I think in the late 90s. There were massive strikes. And the result, like, it's not officially called Bob's Law, but like that's the colloquial term. Outer wall. I've missed an outer wall? But yeah, it's colloquially called Bob's Law because it was because of Bob the Builder that we got it. This one. Upper basin wall, lower basin base. Lower basin base. Wait, is that all one bloody thing? That's huge. Bob the Builder is more base than I thought. Yeah, who knows how many lives Bob the Builder saved by inspiring that law. Can't fucking spray that thing. But it's not uncommon for stuff to get named after, like, things that inspired it. Like, there is actually, like, a, I can't remember if it's still a thing, but there used to be, like, a hormone or a gene or something that either caused or prevented cancer. And they named it after Pikachu. Like, it was Pikachurin or something like that. I think Pikachurin is the one that stops cancer, and then the one that causes it was named after a different Pokemon. And then they threatened litigation because they didn't want Pokemon being associated with a gene that causes cancer, or something like that. I can't remember the details, but you can look it up. Upper basin wall. There is no upper basin wall. That's the lower basin. This is the upper basin. There's no frickin' wall. I don't know what you're on about. This is the upper basin. There's no wall here. What am I supposed to be bloody spraying here, man? That's the upper basin wall. Oh, it's one of these. I think I did reasonably well on not missing things. Yeah. Yay! Bloody finally! God, that took frickin' forever. But we did it. So, thank you for sticking with me, guys. Oh, stretchy. Ooh. It's less pretentious than naming an important scientific discovery after yourself. I would do that. I'm not ashamed to admit that if I made a groundbreaking scientific or like, probably more likely some sort of literary rule or something like that, like some sort of naming convention, I'd be perfectly fine with that being called like the Garen rule. I would have zero problem with that. Right. I almost got the keep it clean angle right. Look at that work. That's pretty damn solid work. And I struggled a bit on the on the top bit, but that was pretty good going, I think. So, next time, which will be next Monday. Yeah, next Monday, I will do the mini golf course. Fuck my life, that's going to be huge. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. Sorry. I saw that and I thought that said 10% complete, and it's like, but I haven't done any of these. No, it's not 10% complete. All right. So I'll do the mini golf course next time. That's probably going to be a really big one. Oh, hell. Okay. Something to look forward to for next Monday. Thank you very much for watching. I will continue streaming Lobco on Wednesday and Friday of this week. And remember, it is my birthday stream a week on Wednesday. That's the 15th of November. Starting earlier, going later. And I'll be playing whatever it is I'm playing for fun. So I still don't quite know what that will be yet. Most likely RimWorld, not sure yet. So thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, check out my Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, check out my YouTube. Either way, check out my social media linked below the Twitch and in the description of the YouTube stream. Join the Garen Weaver Discord, same place. It's been in the chat as well. And check out my Patreon. Pledges on there really, really help. We're trying to reach a milestone to start doing the PokéSins movies. Hello, future people. Goodbye, future people. Have a good week. I will see you on Wednesday, and I will catch you later. Where's the off button? There it is. Bye-bye.